Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to our, once again, our midweek MIDrash. We thank you for tuning in and for plugging in and preparing, rolling up your sleeves, and prepare to take some notes. Pen and paper handy is always tov, always good. And we are continuing our teaching and our study in the model prayer. And we are in Thy Kingdom Come. And we're going to be doing a lot of investigating of the implications of that. And there's a lot here to unload or to unpack, as they say. And we're grateful to Yah for opening many doors to us. And he's also closed certain doors to us that need not be open. So we don't want to force open things that we have no business opening. Plain and very, very simple. So again, Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done is the next portion, which goes hand in hand with this. But we're dealing with the Malchut, the kingdom. And by doing so, we have to recognize the king, the Melech. And we have to recognize the kingdom. We are to be his people, his elect, his citizens of this wonderful place that we will serve the Most High. And that we start behaving like citizens now, as naturalized citizens, born from above, prepared for all contingencies. So let us get started. I want to welcome once again Patricia and Gilbert. And Gilbert, shalom to you. And if you would please do us the honors of the opening prayer.
Yes, sir. Abba, we magnify your name and thank you once more for being your presence this evening. We thank you, Father, for all the blessing that you have bestowed upon us. And I ask that you will continue to guide us, dear Father. Bless each and every family member who are present here this evening, dear. And I ask that you will continue at all times to be our leader. We walk in the footsteps of Messiah. Messiah dwells in us and we in him. And there is nothing that is greater under the sun than to know that you are our Redeemer. And Messiah is an advocate between you and us, dear Father. Once more, we thank you and give you all the honor, glory, and praise. In Messiah's name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. It's always good to enter into the presence of the Most High and ask for his direction, his guidance. For the course, we say, Shalom Hadassah, hello, and shalom to you. Toda Rabbah, thank you so much for joining us in our continuing study of the kingdom coming and our willingness to call it into being, to reach out and pray that it would come with all speed. And I'm just getting things up here. There we go. Okay, tov. So we last week we did in our study we looked at Melech. Speaking of Melechim, we see that David wanted to build a house for Yah because he had all these wonderful palatial halls, and he was saying, we need to build you a house, Abba. We need to make a house for you. And Yah appreciated the offer. He says, from time eternity, I've never had the need for a home, for a house to dwell in. And we see that Shaul, as he spoke with the Athenians, mentioned that Yah does not dwell in buildings made by hands. If he does, he chooses to do so, it's in order to accommodate us. It's not anything or any great shakes that he is in need of. He has no needs. The only thing he would like is to be worshipped by his people in spirit and in truth, because he's searching for such that would worship him, that would serve him, that would be active in the world that we live in, and do be about our Father's business. So as we said before, most prayers within the Hebrew language begin Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. So again, that ties together the first three parts of the prayer. Our Father in heaven, separate and Kadosh is your name, and your kingdom come. So in fact, the opinion is that unless a prayer includes the kingdom, it's not a prayer. So every prayer that we pray, think of that, and just not that we're responding to a rabbinic tradition. We say, you know what? We prove all things, we test all things, and that is Tov. That is absolutely passes the smell test, and it is Tov, and it's right. When we mention him, we need to mention the kingdom, that it would come in righteousness, that we have already seen the anointing of the Melech, the king, and have treated him as such and as his citizens, and that we behave ourselves and keep the law. Because a kingdom without laws is not a kingdom. A kingdom without laws is chaos, even as we're finding out. Oh, well, I think we can defund the police. I think we could defund those. And notice the people who are saying that have their own private secret service watching over them, fully armed to the teeth. But we're not getting into politics this evening. Just as a point of fact that we need to know that we need him. We need his direction, his guidance. And it's not a matter of what we can get away with. It's how we can be obedient. That we've been created with our own, buckle up, in quotation marks, our own free will. We can do or we cannot do. But we need to do. We need to have the desire to please our Adonai, our master, our redeemer, the one who claims us as his own. And as I mentioned with David, David was rewarded for his intention that he would build a house for him. Yah would build a house for David. But he also says that he will make us a house. He will make us a Beit HaMikdash, a temple. Individually and collectively, we are to be a temple of the Most High. We're going to get into that. We're going to go into the fullness of that teaching. And so Yah works with us, and he's the one that builds the structure. And as the old saying is, he makes a house a home. You know, you've heard, it's an old saying. I don't know if it's even used anymore, but you know, you make this house a home. You know, you can have a structure, you can have the four walls, the ceiling, and the roof, but unless there's love, it's not a home. It's a structure, it's a box. And our desire is to put Yah in a box and essentially set determined parameters for him in our unsanctified chutzpah. Many of us do that, unintentionally, most of us, but we set limits for him. We withhold things that we need to give to him. You know, we're ashamed of certain things, and so we try to conceal them, but we need him to make this house a home. In the bigger sense, as I was quoting from Shaul, that he referred to each individual as a Beit HaMikdash, a temple, that collectively, together we are a Beit HaMikdash. And Shimon Kifa, Simon Peter, even makes mention that we are all living stones that comprise the truly Kadosh, set-apart house of Yah, where his Ruach will dwell. His Shekinah will find the habitation pure. But again, if it's not pure, he's not going to hang out. First sign of infestation, he's out. So we need to make sure that we keep a clean house. Keep a clean house. And don't allow things to wander in. You know, we keep our doors locked. We keep our windows with screens. We don't want little bugaboos flying into our homes uninvited or creeping under the door or through the walls. We don't like that. You know, some people get used to that, in fact, and that's, I don't know about that. But we shouldn't get used to infestation and invasion. You know, that Yah has made our house a home. And our home is where we have our confidence and our integrity. And if we don't have our integrity, we have zippity-doo-dah. I want to go to the Habesarah, the Gospel of Yochanan, chapter 14. I'm going to read the first 4 verses there. Shalom, shalom, one and all who are with us this evening. And again, feel free to chat, drop a line. I'll read them live. And if you're watching this later on, sorry, but we can't fit in that time capsule and do it, but let us know what your thoughts are on these things. If you want to contact us and send us an email or a text, the number is 718-219-5247. 718-219-5247. And by doing that, you can also contact us with regards to our Thursday evening prayer group, which was all done on a conference call line. So I don't want to just give that over the air, but you call us and we'll give that to you and you can join us. We want to hear you pray. All those voices that are on that, we insist that everyone has that chance to pray. And it's an honor to step up and open up our hearts and our minds to the Most High. So, as I started to say, must have been 45 minutes, 3 hours ago, I was turning to Yochanan, the Besserah, the Gospel of John, chapter 14, the first 4 verses. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in Elohim, believe also in me. To believe in one is to believe in the other. If you see the Father, you also see me. We are one and the same. We are an extension of each other. So you believe in Elohim, believe in that same way in me. When we say we believe something, it can be simple intellectual acknowledgement, like I believe this is a laptop sitting in front of me. And that's a belief that doesn't require too much faith, right? It's there. But if we sit on a rickety stool and it's rocking, we're going to either have faith that it's not going to collapse under us, or we better get up and sit somewhere else. So faith is required to really cement our belief. And again, those living stones, they are uncut stones. That was the requirement of Yah for his Beit HaMikdash, of his altar. Unhewn stones. Man doesn't get credit for it. Yah made these stones, and they will fit into the place. In other words, Yah is telling us, okay, those stones over there, the top one, the one over there, that'll be fine. Bring them here. And those over there, they're all there. The stones are there. He put them there. He left them there. And all you have to do is put them together. All those puzzle pieces that don't need to be shaped and formed. It's not like taking the square peg and forcing it into the round hole. Getting a drill and making sure, change the shape of that square and make it round, or vice versa. Vice versa. So believe in Elohim, believe also in me. And he goes on to say, in my Father's house. And where is that house? It's in the third heavens, right? It's way up there. It's pure, it's kadosh, it's set apart, it's distinct. There's nothing that is intolerable or inappropriate there. There are many rooms, there's many dwelling places that are permanent. They're not rentals. They are places for you to be going forward. And it's translated mansions. I don't know how palatial these rooms are. They will be adequate. Like when we've gone in years ago, we went to Disney and Universal, did that whole thing. Our hotel room was just a sleep place, Let's get a bigger hotel room. Let's stay in this place because it's all. No, the hotel room is where you crash at night and you wake up in the morning and you go on your adventure. But in these dwelling places, they are the place where we need to be. And then he says, if it were not so, I would have told you. Yah has a good track record of telling truth. He is truth. He's the way, the truth, and the life. And he goes on to talk further about that. I would have told you if it were not so. I'm not lying to you. I'm not exaggerating to you. I'm not building up your hopes so they can laugh while they get dashed to the ground and you think you took me literally. Come on. Yah is not like that at all. And then he says, I go to prepare a place for you. So in my Father's house are many places, and I'm telling you the truth, I'm not lying, and I go to prepare that place for you. So even though it's in the Father's house, he goes to prepare the place. He goes to prepare the accommodations. He goes to make it appropriate for our every need. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself. This was not built and made to be uninhabited. It was not meant to be empty and void. Tohu vavohu, as it says in Bereshit chapter 1, verse 2. He made it to be occupied, just like all the kahalim, all the kahila, all the congregations. All those seats were meant to be inhabited by someone. And that might actually have your name in it, And don't forsake the assembling of ourselves, because that's your spot right there. That's why nobody's sitting in it, because you sit there whenever you come. So that's the place he's preparing for us. Hamakom. I go to make a place for you where I will have my name. I go to the place you will go is the place that I will put my name on it, and I will lead you there. So this is the place where my name is. What is his name? His name is Yahuwah, the eternal Yud-He, Vav-He, Yud-He, Wav-He. And Mashiach, Yeshua, the one who saves his people, is the one who's making all the preparations. And he will come and receive us to himself. And wow, how wonderful is that? I will come and take you with me. And the Malachim, for the four corners, we forget that it's the Malachim who come and grab us from our resurrected position and bring us to meet with him in the air. Meet with him in the air. And then to join that procession, where? To Shemayim? No, to the earth. He was returning to the earth to establish his kingdom, and we are to be with him. Look what it says. I will receive you to myself, that where I am, you may be also. Where is he? He's claiming his royal kingship, where he will rule on the earth for 1,000 years. And after that, we see that final rebellion, and then the new heavens and the new earth, and then the new Yerushalayim, and all these wonderful things that are tantalizingly just out of reach. And it's our hope. It's the great hope. And a hope that's been realized and dropped in your lap is not a hope at all. For who hopes for that which he already has? I had a nice dinner tonight. I'm not still hoping for it. I've had it. And once the plate was in front of me, I was saying, I hope I get a nice dinner. It's there. A couple of hours earlier, I said, I'm hungry. I hope I get a nice dinner. And my Melka, Regina, is my Malka. She's my angel who prepares and meets my needs. Where I am, you may be also. Where I am, you may be also. And the book of Revelation talks about wherever the Lamb went, that's where the 144,000 went. Wherever he is, that's where we want to be. Wherever he is, wherever the Lamb is where we must be. He is light. He is love and the fullness of life. Okay? And where I go, you know. And the way you know. They say, well, wait a minute. We don't know. It says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He is the path, the derech emunah, the path of truth and faith. He is ha'emet. He's the truth. If it were not so, I would have told you. I'm telling you truth. Verily, verily. Amen, amen. It is so. And he is chayim. He's the life. He has come so we might have life eternal. And when he receives us to himself, we will have already been beyond this life. We would have had either experienced the first death, or we might have been translated as we walk. But not the second death. The second death is not appointed for us. Okay? I am the way, the truth, and life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Again, the Father's mansion. Messiah is the way. He will prepare us and bring us there. He will bring us there. I go and I will receive you to myself, and we will be echad. We will be together. We will be one. We will be one. That's the type of unity that I'm speaking about, says Yah. Mankind has a lot of strange ideas of unity, a lot of unusual ideas of that concept of being echad, of being one. I'm going to Colossians now, Colossians 1:13, also the writing of Shaul. otherwise known as Paul, aka Paul, Pablo. He has delivered us from the power of darkness and conveyed us into the malchut of the Son of his love, in whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins. Again, the now and the not yet. He's delivered us from the power of darkness in our life now. He has delivered us from the power of darkness. So those of you who are playing into the hand of the adversary saying, well, we're all sinners. I'm a liar. I'm a cheater. But I'm also a believer and I'm saved by the blood. Wait. What you're saying is the blood is insufficient. What you're saying is the power is close but no cigar. No, that's not what the word tells us. He has delivered us from the power of darkness and our being begotten in the process of our rebirth, fully born anew when we are resurrected. That's the fullness of being born from above. Because born again is better translated as born from a higher place, born from above. He calls and we respond. We say, Hinenu, here we are. Take us to be with you. And he's more than willing to do so. He's conveyed us into the kingdom of the Son of his love, who is him. Interesting how they phrase that Messiah is taking us to the kingdom of the Son of his love, namely him, the Son of his love, but also the sons and daughters of the love through him, who are also sons and daughters. He is the uniquely born of Yah. We are born from above. He's the first fruit. He's the Bekor. We are the Bekurim. We are the first fruits of this harvest of souls that are being united with him. He's always the first. And those who keep the commandments of Yah are his brothers and his sisters and his mother. Notice not his father. He didn't mention his father because he has one father. He has one Abba, and that's our Abba. We don't mess around with that. We have one Abba. You know, one of the great tragedies of the world is the lowering of the bar of what it takes to be a parent. And of course, we know that that's more than just being a sperm donor. It's the one that's willing to love and cherish the child and the child's mother in the unity of Yah, okay? And what he has put together, let no one separate. Notice what he has put together. You know, Larry and Rhonda hook up at a bar one night. That Yah didn't put that together. He didn't put that together. You know, Steve and Elaine, they met in under bizarre circumstances and engaging in foolishness. Did Yah put that together? No. What Yah has put together, but no one put asunder. So again, those who have been in Yah and through Yah have come together as a unit, as Ish and Isha, joined together with the ability to create life. That's what marriage is. That is the definition. So he conveyed us. He's in the process of conveying us into the kingdom of the Son of his love, in whom we have redemption through his blood and the forgiveness of sins. So we have, it's like, what is it like? It's like the story of Hansel and Gretel. Remember, they were dropping breadcrumbs so that they could find their way back. It turned out was it the goose or the duck wound up eating the breadcrumbs. So they got to come up with a better plan. We used to go on nature trips with the kids in Forest Park over here, which could be, before you laugh at me, it was in Queens. Obviously, it wasn't super dense, and you get lost forever. But it was pretty dense, and we would go on our nature walk, and we'd make a turn. We make sure, okay, we're making a right turn here, right at this stump over here. So what does that mean? It means when we're coming this way, we make a left turn at the same stump. So we made sure that we set up road marks. And Messiah has given us the road mark of his faithfulness, of the words that he's told us, that don't worry about the veracity of my words. If it were not so, I would have told you. I am the way, I am also the truth, and the life. The life is what you get by following the truth along the way, the derech. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28. Ivrim. And the author says, therefore, since we are receiving a malchut, which cannot be shaken, let us have grace by which we may serve Elohim acceptably with reverence and godly fear, for our Elohim is a consuming fire. Okay, got that? We're receiving a malchut, a kingdom, which cannot be shaken. Let us have grace by which we may serve Elohim. And we talked about that last week, I believe, when we were looking at Titus, that Yah's grace allows us, teaches us, disciplines us to say no to evil in this world, in this time. So those who think that grace is just some freebie or party favor that we receive if we go to this shindig are missing several important road marks. And without those road marks, we're going to keep wandering and wander right past that stump because we didn't know. Well, it's preparation. And when I'm walking with my family, with my two little ones, I make sure I'm in charge. And if we were to get lost, it would be on me. So I made sure I covered myself by taking the precautions. We need to take precautions in our day-to-day walk. Absolutely. So, since we're receiving this kingdom, which cannot be shaken, and prior to this event, the heavens and the earth, the heavens meaning the first and the second heavens will be shaken. But the Malchut HaYahuwah is permanent, is the definition of stability, cannot be shaken. He doesn't need to be repentant of anything. The shakening comes to get us right. The shakening comes, it's like somebody's having a nightmare. If I see my wife's in agony and I'll shake her, wake up, you're dreaming, you're having a nightmare. Oh, thank you. You give me an exit door, and the heart's beating. It's very real. Some dreams can be realer than reality. And I always have very vivid dreams. Not always prophetic ones. I have a couple of brethren that really do get these from time to time. So let us have grace by which we may serve Yah. And people forget that the term for worship, and there's different words for it. I'm not going to get into the technical thing here, but the idea is not just to say, oh, thank you, Lord, we praise you. It means roll up your sleeves and serve. Roll up your sleeves and serve. And when we think of serving, we think of doing what he wants us to do to meet our needs and what have you. But I also think of a servant, a server, making sure that his meal is hot, it's not cold, that it's not messed up, there's no hair in the soup. We are servants. And we bring the meal out. We make sure it's everything to your liking. We check up on them later, as a good server would do. Not just to throw the bowl out there, whatever, but to check up on them. Say, are you finding everything good? Anything I can get for you? Everything, is everything fine? Yeah, it's excellent. Thank you. And that adds to the tip. Oh, baby. You get a nice tip. You keep showing interest. You make a little small talk. Hey, this guy's really nice. I like him. I remember there was this one show that the guy shows the waiter. He's got a stack of bills. It says, this is what we're starting with. And we're going to make deductions along the way. Like, for instance, do you have cold iced tea? Oh, you don't? Okay, let's try that again. Do you, and making deductions. Now, Yah doesn't watch over us like that, but he does take these things into account. Yeah, does that mean I have to go back into the kitchen and get you another spoon? I mean, come on, it's not that dirty. That fork's got a little crust on it, but it's dry. Just keep it away from the mashed potatoes. It won't fall off in there. No, he says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me get that right away." You go back to the kitchen, you get a proper spoon. Okay, not his fault, but he gave me the right spoon, so I'm very thankful for that. Okay, so let me get out of that service mode and get back into the text here. We may serve him acceptably, appropriately, in the same way, in the same measure. Remember, Yah is not like uneven measures. He hates mixtures of weights, and also doesn't like linen mixed with wool. Linen is a very light, silky fabric that's very perfect for the hot weather, and the wool is for the cold weather. You don't want to wear a wool coat on a 90-degree day, right? Nor do you want to wear that linen shirt on a 20-degree day. Everything at its appropriate time. Otherwise, you're sending mixed signals. You're doing a mixture. You're doing a mixed du jour, and it's not welcome by Yah. So our worship has to be commensurate with what He's done for us, and that means equal. And how can we? Can we purchase our salvation? No, we can never. We can never do that. We can never match Him, but we can try. If our child messes something up, he wants to make amends. Okay, he's not going to do it perfect, but he's making an effort, and you receive it. You receive that effort, that confession. Okay, now I'm going to jump to Danielle, chapter 7. Oh, he's going to get into the prophecy. Ooh, baby. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, verses 13 and 14. I'm sure a lot of you already knew where I was going when we're talking about the kingdom, the Malchut. And Danielle says, I was watching in the night visions, and behold, again, the idea of the dreams, the night visions. Hine, behold, one like the Ben Adam, one like the Son of Man, coming in the clouds of Shemayim. He came to the Ancient of Days, and he brought him near to him. Then to him was given dominion and glory and a kingdom that all peoples, nations, languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his Malchut, his kingdom, the one which shall not be destroyed. So not only then, but also in the future, but even today, we function and operate from a different kingdom standard from the rest of the material world, still shrouded in darkness and confusion. And in many ways, this could be talking about us also, because we are Ben Adam, we have been born again, and we come to the Ancient of Days in confession, in truth. Oh, I'm missing peeps. Wanda, shalom. Hello, Wanda. So good to see you there. Oh, man. I pray that all is well with you and your sisters, Rose and Tamba, and for Dad, and of course for Herman, that we're hopefully going to reconnect with soon with our MIDweek MIDrash, the life of Shimshon. So we have dominion. We are to be vassal kings. We are to be kings and priests. We are to be Kohanim and Malachim on the earth in our resurrected, perfected bodies. Okay? And that kingdom shall never pass away. We shall always be in debt and servitude as his faithful children. So we have resources, guidance, and connections that this world has nothing to do with. Yeah, we're doing okay. Okay. So we have stuff that is inaccessible to the rest of the world, and it's not something that we gloat over, and we can't just say, and there's been good sermons that were good up to a point. We're saying, well, the only thing different between us and the rest of the world is that we believe in Yeshua. What does that belief mean? That's the only distinction, not that we become more like him, to walk as he walked, to be distinct from the world. That's also a huge distinction from the rest of society, the rest of this planet, all the people in it. So we have to be careful about that we just don't make these kinds of assumptions. We have resources, guidance, and connections. It's not always what you know, it's who you know. You've heard that. That's always mentioned sort of in a bitter, ironic way, because you didn't get that promotion. Oh, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, in the Malchut, what you know and who you know are one and the same. If you believe in Abba, believe in me also. And that same measure, that same belief that we are distinct and unique and purposeful and almighty and purpose and driven to accomplish that which we have determined to do. And you are our vessels to help that get done. Greater works will you do. Okay? World has nothing to do with these things. So we learn to live in that reality, both individually and collectively, as I said earlier. Okay? And this enables us to see that everything we need to do is laid out right here in the scriptures and has repeatedly emerged throughout history. So it's not guesswork. It's like, yeah, as it was, so it will be. We see patterns being established, and there's no reason to diminish them and to assume that they're going to dry up on us, but they will remain consistent. Okay? We go to Metayahu, Matthew 16:19. And I will give you the keys to the Malchut HaShemayim. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of Shemayim. Keys. What are keys used for? To open doors, right? That you have a unique avenue for entry. Somebody else doesn't have the keys, they can't get in. You have the keys. You have access to the Malchut. Okay? And whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Again, it's the same standard is allowed and permitted. No mixture, no diverse weights and measures. Whatever you build, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. You're confirming the same standard. One standard, okay, is allowed and one standard is permitted. And whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. In other words, you will be people of integrity, that as I am and I say and it is and it's done, so should you be. Why the big gulf that separates us from Yah, his reason and his purposes? Why should there be a distinction and a difference? He is our Abba. He's teaching us. Why should we insist on being separate? We cry, Abba, Father. And what does Abba do? He takes us, embraces us, loves us, and teaches us. Sets the example that we are to follow. Okay? So, whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Okay? So think about that. The things that we permit, do they meet the standard of Shemayim? So it has to be consistent. What works one way works the other way. What happened in the vision of Yaakov? He saw a stairway or a ladder or a ziggurat, a step temple or pyramid that reached the heavens, and Yahuwah was at the top. And the Malachim were going up and down, from Shemayim to Haaretz. And Mashiach in Yochanan, I think it's the second chapter, he mentions that he is that ladder. The Malachim come up and down, up and down. They are permitted, they are loosed. They are loosed, they are permitted. It's the same standard. Same standard. There's no A, capital A, and lowercase b. It's A. It might be a lowercase a, but it's still A. And it's shaping up to be a capital A. Not as tall as the absolute Alpha and the Omega, not the absolute Aleph and Tav, because he is the Aleph Tav, the first and the last. He's the birth and the death. He's the reason between all of that. He's first and last and everything in between. So again, he reminds us that access to Yah comes through prayer. And it says he will supply all of our needs. sometimes with a little help from our friends. Now, what does that mean? Am I talking about the Beatles and taking a few hallucinatory drugs? Okay, dude, I'm good now. What kind of friends am I talking about here? He comes through to us in prayer. He will supply our needs, and sometimes he does it through entertaining malachim, through the malachim, the angels. Hebrews 1:13 says, "But to which of the malachim, the angels, has he ever said, 'Sit at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool'?" Okay. Sit at the right hand till I make your enemies your footstool. Are they not all ministering ruachim, spirits, sent forth to minister for those who will inherit salvation, us? They are helping us. They're watching over us. We tend to think of, well, that sounds an awful lot like the fantasy realm. It sounds an awful like, I don't know, fill in the blank. I can't think for examples. But just like in this world, you have all the important big shots. They're walking around. What are they surrounded by? They're surrounded by Secret Service, armed security. And they guard. And they're willing to take a bullet for the one that they're guarding. Still remember that when Reagan was shot and all the people kind of collapsed on him, brought him into a car and brought him to the hospital just in time. They weren't able to penetrate that bullet, but the malachim of Yah are better than that. Mashiach even said, regarding him, he was talking to Kifa at the garden when they were coming to arrest him. He says, "Look, don't you realize that if I would call upon malachim, angels, and they would come and they would protect me and support me? Don't you think that'll happen? But this is how it must happen. I must drink of this cup. This must go down. I don't like it any more than you do, people, but this is the way it's got to be. That's why I came to be in this world." So, just like the Secret Service, they all look kind of alike. They wear these dark glasses. They're always kind of looking around, standing very still, checking out the crowd. We have malachim doing the same thing for us. Look what it says in Matthew 18, verse 10. "Take heed that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I say to you that in heaven, their malachim always see the face, the panaim, the presence of my Father who is in heaven." Of the little ones, which are referring to little children, but also the little ones refer to the babes in Yah, the one who would not take much to offset their little apple cart and dismiss this fledgling faith that they've engaged in. "For I say to you that in heaven, the little ones, they have malachim, who always see the panaim of my Father who is in heaven." They always see his face. Wherever they are, they have his face before them, the Shekinah. And they represent him. And they watch over the malachim. They're angels. What does that mean? They're angels. What does that mean? We go to chapter 26-52. "But Yeshua said to Kifa, 'Put your sword away.'" Here, I just read this, so let me read it anyway. "For all who take the sword will perish by the sword. Or do you think that I cannot pray now to my Father, and he will provide for me 12 legions of malachim, angels, that the scripture could be fulfilled, that it must happen like this." There's no shortcomings. There's no short, quick way of doing this. It's got to play out. It's got to play out. Also, in the book of Acts, chapter 12, much later, this very same Kepha has been arrested, Simon Peter, Petros, and he himself waits for execution. It's during Pesach. So he's thinking, oh, wow, how appropriate that I'm going to die on Passover like the Master died on Passover. Because he told me there's going to come a time when people are going to apprehend me and bring me to a place that I don't want to go. So he's thinking this is it. Most likely this is it. Verse 5. Kepha was therefore kept in prison, but constant, fervent, effectual prayer was offered to Elohim for him by the Kahal, the Ecclesia, the congregation, the community of faith. Verse 7. Now behold, Hinei, a malach of Yahuwah, stood by him, and a light struck the prison. And he struck Kepha on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise quickly, Talitha. And his chains fell off his hands. And the malach said to him, Gird yourself and tie on your sandals. And so he did. And he said to him, Put on your garment and follow me. Okay, so he's dressing him. He's dazed. Put on your shoes, put your coat on, and come on, let's go. He has to strike him on the side to wake him up. He should have been sleepless, thinking that he might very well be executed, but he was getting a good doze in before that. And remember in the Passover of Messiah that he fell asleep those 3 times. Okay? So he escaped and arrived at the home where many were gathered together praying. Okay? So he arrives at that place where people were gathered together praying. And we just heard that people are praying for Kepha. So in response to that, he sends the malach of Kepha to come and rescue him. Okay? So they're praying together. But when Rhoda told the brethren that Kepha had come to them and said, they said that you're beside yourself. It is his malach, his angel. Eventually, they too are astonished at Kepha's miraculous deliverance. Okay? Okay. So Kepha got a little insight, but the people that are praying for him are shocked that Yah is answering the prayer. So when we come together, we have this to learn from, that Yah was going to deliver Kepha, even though Kepha was in prison. Yaakov was murdered. Remember, Kepha, Yaakov, and Yochanan were the inner 3. So you'd think if any of the Talmudim or the Shlachim were going to be, murdered, it would be one of the lesser ones. But no, when right after Yaakov died, Kepha on the on-deck circle, next to die. But he's delivered, and they can't believe the account, just like when the Talmudim were told that Mashiach was raised. So I'm not going to believe it unless I see it myself. You're beside yourself. It says malach, his angel. It says malach, his angel. So, yeah, the malach of Kepha was part of the scene also. And he was delivered. I'm going to chapter 10 now, verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea named Cornelius, a centurion of what was called the Italian regiment, a devout man, and one who feared Elohim with all his household, who gave alms generously to the people and prayed to Elohim always. And about the 9th hour of the day, he saw clearly in a vision. So he was praying at the evening prayer. When it says he prayed to Elohim always, means appropriately, like pray without ceasing, which generally means that we pray during the time of the morning, afternoon, and evening sacrifices, which are 9 in the morning, 12 at noon, and 3 in the afternoon. So here it is, the evening prayer. Clearly in the vision, a malach of Elohim coming and saying to him, Cornelius. Cornelius. Verse 4. And when he observed him, he was afraid and said, What is it, Adonai? So he said to him, Your prayers and your alms, your faith-confirming actions. He didn't pay off Yah, by making payments. But the alms were symbols confirming his actions of faith. Your faith-confirming actions. Your prayers and your alms have come up for memorial before Yah. In fact, you're praying right now at the time when the sacrifices are being made. Okay? But your prayers have come up for memorial for Elohim. You are remembered. I remember you. I call upon you. I recognize you. I recognize you within the sense of a courtroom. I recognize you. Stand up and give testimony. I recognize you. I give you validity. I acknowledge you. That your prayers were not in vain. That I respect what you did. It says, now send men to Joppa and send for Shimon, whose surname is Kifa. He's lodging with Shimon, a tanner, whose house is by the sea. He will tell you what to do. So that's results. He prayed, and he got a malach to come to him, his malach, to repeat to him specific instructions. So all of his household are immersed in the Ruach, as well as in the Mayim. We must be sure to attend to the little details and not simply get caught up in slogans, platitudes, and various sloganeerings. A lot of people are very good with the chatter. When it comes time to put up or shut up, they shut up. They can't make that connection. They can't make that level of commitment. It's just beyond them. And what does it say in 2 Chronicles 7:14? If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, and again, the face is the panim, it's the presence of Yah, and turn from ek teshuvah, and turn from their sin, not turn in their sin, turn from their sin. Stop it, knock it off. That's why on Shabbat service, I always remind you that the root of the word Shabbat is to stop. Knock it off. I'm ready to receive you, but you got to knock off the nonsense. You got to turn away from that. And the useless sloganeering. You're quoting your words to me. I know them better than you do. And guess who else knows them very well? The adversary. Hasatan knows the word very well. He tried to confuse Mashiach, who had been hungering for 40 days. He thought he could cut him down to his size, but he could never do that. Okay? Pray, seek his face. That's the only reason why we should pray, is to seek the presence. We don't just pray up to the sky. We pray to the face, to the presence. We pray that the book of Revelation refers to the prayers of the Kadoshim, the holy ones, the saints, are like the incense altar, raising up to the Shemayim. Okay? Turn from their wicked ways, their rebellious, twisted ways, their lawless ways. Then I will hear from heaven and forgive their sin and heal their land. Then, people have a hard time believing in the faith that things are conditional, and I keep hearing, well, there's nothing you can do to make the Lord love you any less or any more. He loves you unconditionally, and whatever you do, it's cool by him. He's okay with it. He knows that we're all weak. Spirit's willing, but the flesh is weak. And I say get to the back of the line, because you're talking and thinking inappropriately, completely inappropriately, totally incorrectly. So let's see. We are to humble ourselves from our own arrogant, self-sufficiently. And if we do then we can pray. Now we can mean business. Humble ourselves in his presence. Humble ourselves in his presence. Seek his face, his manifest presence. It is there we can live once we make teshuvah, to turn away from our lawlessness, live in the obedience of the Malchut Elohim, the kingdom of Yah, the law abiding, and be law abiding. A law abiding. We abide in instruction. We abide in what we've learned and in our experiences. And people say abiding in the law. And so many people are brought up hating the law because they're told the law is the problem. The law is the hero of the Old Testament, but the law is the enemy in the New Testament. They have no concept of what they're saying. I'm not going to address that now. We got only a couple minutes left, and I'm not going to lower myself to talk about that right now. Okay? We live in the obedience of the kingdom, and we abide in his law. We abide in him. He abides in us. When we abide in him, we abide in his word, and his word abides in us, and his word is Torah. His word, Torah, is not just the first 5 books of Moshe. His Torah is from Bereshit to the Apocalypse, given to Yochanan, Revelation. Okay? They will see things, and if we do that, we will see things begin to move, things to change. The kingdom is the main theme of HaBesarah. Okay? And I'm going to stop there. The last note I have here is the Malchut is 121 times in the Gospels, 136 times in the Epistles. The Malchut. It is a very serious subject. A lot of people, they want to know about it. To them, it sounds an awful lot like legalism. And legalism is a perversion of Torah. It's not Torah. Obeying the laws of the land is legalism. So, in other words, it's okay to rob a liquor store. It's okay to push people onto subway platforms, onto the track. It's all okay. It's okay. No, it's not. We have laws that we must abide by. And when those laws oppose the truth of Yah, then we deal with that accordingly. But Yah wants us to recognize the kingdom, the authority. When we say thy kingdom come, we're acknowledging his authority and we're welcoming it. We're welcoming a dramatic change to the affairs of the world. Dramatic change. Dramatic. And change, if it's true, is dramatic. It's not subtle. It's life and death, life from death. It is true. It is earth-shattering. It shatters our presuppositions and allows us to dwell in it. Dwell with Mashiach. Where he is, we will be. And if it were not so, he would have told us. But he told us, contrary-wise, the way things will be. That there's a place for us. And not just a physical place, but a place. We have a place in our hearts for certain people, our children, our parents, our spouses. A special place in our hearts and in our priorities in our lives. So there's a place for us in the kingdom. But we need to be faithful citizens, not just to create light crimes, white lies, to get off with a warning. Next time. So many people try to see how far we can get, how much we can get away before our dad gets real upset with us. And just measure that distance. And then once that's established, we can continue to function within that. Where we get him upset, but not to the point of exploding. So let that not be our method. Let us only seek to praise and to glorify the one who was, is, and will be, Yahuwah, and his purpose, his perfect design. And it's coming one way or another. If you're not looking forward to it, then move along, Sonny, because it's coming. If we're not so, he would have told us. And it's coming is changing everything. So we say, Todah Rabbah, even so, Yah, come, Lord Yeshua. Come with that kingdom. Come with that standard finally realized and perfected as we are perfected. Thank you, Abba. Thank you, Abba. Todah Rabbah. Thank you so much for being with us, and for those who will watch later on, for Hadassah and for Wanda, we thank you so much for being with us again. And this coming Sabbath, we will have a special Shabbat Unity service, so tune in for that at 11 a.m. And then next Wednesday evening, Yah willing, at 7:30 p.m., be there or be square, but be positive, be plus. Praise Yah. Amen. May that always be on our lips. Praise Yah. And not only to say the words, but then through our actions, we are praising Yah. Thank you, Father. Sister Patricia.
Yes.
How you doing there?
And I will be honored. So,
Amen.
our Father, in the name of Yeshua, we thank you and praise you that we could come together as one to continue the study of the model prayer. Thy kingdom come. Bless us with super faith and glorification, and help us to always be aware of what is going on
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Toda rabah. And to you all, we say shalom. Laila tov u'lehitraot. Kathy Roach. All right. Amen. I hope to be talking with you tomorrow evening during our prayer time. So thank you for joining us. And again, until next Wednesday at 7:30 for our midweek MIDrash, we say Laila tov u'lehitraot. We say good night, and we will check you out down the road, down the path. And here we go. So Laila tov to one and all. Amen.